Paul McCartney brought the curtain down on the Beatles in the most brutal fashion on Friday, April 10, 1970. 7 days later he was to release his debut solo album alongside wife Linda, and Paul was never to look back again. McCartney chose not to do any publicity for the release of his first solo project, but instead asked Peter Brown at record label Apple to write list of questions, to which McCartney supplied the answers. It was to make the basis of press release that would announce that McCartney had new material, but it was to cause media storm after Daily Mirror journalist Don Short revealed its contents after having tip-off. There had been speculation that the Beatles had come to an end for around 6 months beforehand, but McCartney's brutal answering of questions about the band made sure the coffin was definitely nailed down. Reflecting on what he said at the time, McCartney wrote in his anthology sleeve notes, "The world reaction was like the Beatles have broken up, it's official, we'd known it for months. So that was that. Really? Think it was the press who misunderstood. The record had come with this weird explanation on questionnaire of what was doing. It was actually only for them. I think few people thought it was some weird move of me to get publicity, but it was really to avoid having to do the press." The section of questions that brought an end to the Beatles saw McCartney in prickly mood, in which he had one-word answers to the Beatles carrying on and whether he would write any more songs with John Lennon. Both got resounding no as. McCartney looked to distance himself from the Beatles brand and become his own act. McCartney made it clear that he was his own man, and when asked what has recording alone taught you, he replied, that to make your own decisions about what you do is easy, and playing with yourself is very difficult, but satisfying. Questioning turned to the Beatles, and when asked, did you miss the other Beatles and George Martin? Was there a moment when you thought, I wish Ringo were here for this break? McCartney simply answered, no. He was then asked, are you planning new album or single with the Beatles? Again the answer was to the point, no. The questioning later turned to why he was going solo, with Green asking, is your break with the Beatles temporary or permanent, due to personal differences or musical ones? McCartney answered, personal differences, business differences, musical differences, but most of all because have better time with my family. Temporary or permanent? Don't really know. Then came the killer blow to the question, do you foresee time when Lennon, McCartney becomes an active songwriting partnership again? Paul brutally answered, no. He had one last parting shot to the question, what do you feel about John's peace effort? The Plastic Ono Band? Giving back the MBE? Yoko's influence? Yoko? A rather uninterested McCartney replied, love John, and respect what he does, it doesn't really give me any pleasure.